You don't hear about it, and they just read about it. But you gon' think about it, cause we about to speak about it. Why the prisons be so crowded, all filled up with melanin. Everybody ain't in prison. Now this dirty system laws, lock us up without a cause, making sure our families stay broken, cause they fear us, y'all. So this platform we on, coming strong, looking for reform, seeking to disarm every calm. And we can do this.
You go. Hey everyone, this is Pamela, the OBG, author Pamela J of The War and the Women of the War, and my co-host Kalia. Hey Kalia, how you doing?
Hey, KP squared.
Okay, that's right. I want to ask you. We back now. We had some technical difficulties, but our guests are starting to come in. But me and Kalia are going to kick it real quick. What you feel about this George Floyd situation? What do you feel about the trial? Have you been watching the trial? Did you know?
Well, first of all, like I've seen a couple memes on Facebook. It is not George Floyd's trial; it's Derek's trial because
Okay,
Derek
excuse me.
knows
Sorry,
that he
right?
murdered an innocent person in broad
Yes,
daylight, and
right.
I get so upset about that actual situation as most of us do because the last thing he called was his mama, and as a mother of boys I could just come
Me
through
too.
the
Yes,
TV
yes, yes,
through this
yes.
whole trial.
Um, do you think? Okay, let me ask you this question because I've been listening. Like, I'm not watching it because it's gonna piss me off and make me angry.
Oh yeah.
Um, I wanted to know: do you feel that? I know it's gonna be a verdict where it's not gonna be for me. I believe in my heart it's not gonna be a murder trial, a murder conviction. It's probably gonna be some
Third degree manslaughter, second
yeah,
degree,
something like that. So you
whatever
can
they
get
make
like seven right. And I feel he gonna get out in 3 years and then go on about his business. So I really don't think, but I'm in fear of what it scares me is they're gonna tear up that town. This
well
was just they're gonna tear up the town, and this was like the OJ Simpson trial with the white Bronco.
well I'm
So
not
I don't
I'm
really
not
know.
promoting violence at all, but I do know that if George Floyd had my last name and was
Okay.
my child, I'll be right
Uh-huh.
there with him.
Okay, I know because it's no justice at all. And I was saying, and then on the flip side of it, um, a couple of blocks away, Dante White was murdered, and that hit me because I happened to be downstairs in my living room. And I was waiting for a delivery from Amazon. And when I looked up, because I don't watch the news for this very reason, it's too many suppression things on. When I looked up, they showed the whole incident, and we saw this baby get shot in his chest.
I could.
And you
I
said
wouldn't.
I
I,
couldn't. I didn't mean to watch it. And when I watched it, it took the wind out of my chest. I just couldn't even breathe for a minute. And I went right on Facebook Live, crying and all, because I'm a mother, like you're a mother of two young men, and my boys are 32 and 23, and they're always out in the street by themselves. And I pray and I pray and I tell them all the time, raise your hands, let them know you're not doing nothing, because I can't. I just can't. And then we need to stop this too. Like, it has to be some type of deconstruction of this police department stuff, and then reconstruct it, because they just do not protect us. And I was just looking at it too. They was tear gassing them. I don't, like you said, I don't promote violence neither, but they were protesting and tear gassing them because they were protesting. And I think the protest was at first of like non-violent, not out of control or whatever. But then they started the tear gas. But you let some white people storm the Capitol.
mm-hmm.
Y'all didn't even pull out a
Let's
can
go
of
back.
nothing.
Let's go back. They let racist white people, because like, we definitely know.
Okay.
All our cousins are not the same, but racist white people going up to the people's offices, sitting down at their desks, posing with Medicare and whatnot, in nothing. Nothing at all. One of them asked if they could get out of jail so they could go on vacation.
And that's what shows you entitlement. They think they entitled and they can do whatever they want to do.
I can't.
And do what they ever. I can't. And it's just something that we need to do. Something has to give. Something has to give. Something has to change. I don't know what it is, but we have to change or do something. And then I'm just at a loss for words, because I believe the officer that shot the young man, she did resign, but they was doing research on her, and she was,
so she could still collect her money, her pension.
That's what I was told too, and I think it should be a better system than just resigning, and because she killed somebody, she murdered a baby, like another one of our Black kings was just murdered for no reason, for a traffic stop. I just can't.
I think they need to, in order to make this a learning experience, maybe they need to call a couple people together so they could teach her the difference between a taser
and a gun.
I'm
confused. I just don't understand like what this world and our system is coming to. It saddens me.
Mothers, my heart bleeds for the
okay. I can't.
Like, Eric Gardner, we watched him take his last breath, and Ahmaud Arbery was the last one that I watched. But before they got to the actual end, I had to turn it off. I can't watch it. I just can't.
I'm not watching it. I'm not even watching the trial. I just happened because one day my mom had the trial on, and I came to get something, and they had the coroner. I think the coroner was on with, I don't know if it was the prosecution or whoever, and she kept asking him a question. She kept saying to him, what did she say? Oh, so what does cardiac arrest mean? And he was that no, this was a 911 operator. She was saying it means death. It means your heart stopped. She kept asking. Then I saw when they was asking the coroner, is it true that he had underlying reasons? Now they trying to say he had underlying reasons. That's why he died so quickly. No, and the coroner said no, he had no underlying reasons. He had nothing wrong with his heart. He died from the direct pressure on the neck of that officer. I said, you better say that again. Because they trying to move around and do all of this stuff. They trying. I said, let me go upstairs because I don't want to hear this. Like, I'm ready to fight.
To me, either way, whether he died of cardiac arrest or an ear infection, your knee should have been on his neck.
On his neck.
You need to go to jail.
Okay, you need to go to jail quickly. Wait, you need to go right now on the express bus, okay? Right. It shouldn't even be no trial, and that's the thing.
Y'all doing the person with underlying conditions that day, and now you're doing life in jail.
Yeah, yeah, bye-bye. Bye on the express bus, no problem. It shouldn't even be a trial. Here you, what's my sentence? It shouldn't even be a trial.
Right.
But no, we is in America, the justice system that's so broken. It's ridiculous. And then my cousin, oh my God. Then after all of this, I happened to stumble on this channel on ABC on demand, and I just found out about Black Wall Street and the horrible thing that they did in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1920. So they've been doing this to us, slavery, all of this stuff, and now it's back. It was a town of affluent Black people, and the young man had to do he was shining shoes, and that's was his job. He went to go to the bathroom, and he had to go in a building, and the lady that was operating the elevator, she went to let him in, because back then they had the gate pulling and all that stuff. The young man tripped and fell. He tripped over his shoe or whatever, and when he put his hands out like to catch his fall, made a mistake and touched the lady's dress, and it ripped it. The white lady. She started screaming. He got up and ran. The people inside the building, oh, he attacking a white lady. Took
Mm-mm.
him off the jail, put him right in jail. It was such craziness, and then the Caucasian people from another neighborhood in that town came over to them, shot, killed, burned them up. The lady, after she saw all of this turmoil, tore that town down
He
in 18
apologized.
hours. She apologized and let him go.
See,
I said, Linda, what's the name of that show? Um, it's on ABC, and if you don't, I just I couldn't. I just couldn't.
they
I was watching it.
with Emmett Till, like they still need to go and bring charges against his accusers too. Like go
Okay.
back and get them. Everybody with those false accusations, it needs to be a law against the false
Yes,
accusations.
yes, it do. It needs to be a law. So, Kalia, we're gonna go into your segment now, because it's been good conversation. If anybody has something to contribute or want to ask us a question or call in, please call in to 646-249-0911, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Kalia, your
Okay.
section, girl.
So we already covered some of the points that I'm going to make inside of Just Mercy just by reviewing these different cases, and I'm happy about it. So we know the movie Just Mercy was by Robert Ebert. It's a powerful, thought-provoking, true story, and that's what I really, really like about it. So Just Mercy follows the lawyer Brian Stevenson Jordan in his history-making battle for justice. He graduated from Harvard, became an attorney, and he headed to Alabama to defend those wrongly condemned or those not afforded proper representation. Now, that's already 3 points there. One,
Yes.
Alabama. Okay, I'm from what they call the hood, from Miami area. However, when I travel to Memphis, which I often have to do because my husband is from Memphis, I have to pass through Alabama. And there's some places in Alabama that I still, to this day in 2021, will not stop and keep on moving.
Stop it.
Mississippi, same thing. I go the speed limit. Actually, I go 5 miles under the speed limit in these places. So, yeah, so that is we could cover that. We could talk about that. We could also talk about affordable representation, because if you don't have that
What?
attorney, that money to get that attorney, that prominent attorney, then you are stuck with your public defender.
Yes.
Get paid by
Yes.
the
Yes.
same person.
Yes. 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 Yes.
The
Oh
state
my
representative.
God.
But the state representative, they get paid by the same people. So we can talk about that later. So at the opening of the show, y'all know some movies are hard for me. I have to admit, I tell y'all about the Green Mile. That movie was hard for me to watch the scene inside of the chamber for the electric chair and all that great stuff.
Uh,
So
uh,
I'm gonna slowly get to that. But at the beginning of the movie, The officer asked Johnny D, who was the main role, did he want to make a break for it? Did he want to make a break for it while he was pulling him over? And the answer is yes. I mean, who wouldn't want to make a break for it? Especially if you know you're innocent, you were at work all day and they have pulled you over and charged you with the murder of a white woman that you've never even seen. So definitely he wanted to make a break through. But he wanted to make a break for it. But the news reporter that same day, without hesitation, announced while Johnny D is being booked into the jails, she said, "Justice is served." What? What justice? You didn't even give the man a trial. You didn't even give him a first appearance date. But justice is always served at the beginning. So my point in saying that is stop charging people with things immediately. Like, and it seemed like it's only us. Everybody else get the right to go to trial, go in front of a jury and everything like that. But with us, it seemed like we don't get that right all the time. Like, you know, some people get the death sentence immediately. Like, soon as they pulled over by these officers, police brutality kick in and they get the death sentence. And we haven't even heard their story or the backstory of what really happened. So stop serving justice immediately. Okay, so visitation. I want to go through some points as a child of an inmate about how visitation is for us. Of course, like you said, I took my sons to visit my dad that's in prison, and they even searched the bottles, they searched the baby bed, they searched everything. It is extreme for visitation. It's okay. I'm sure they probably have reasoning behind this, and they may be over exaggerating just a little bit, but that counts is the hardest part for me. It's hard as a child of an inmate seeing this man that is dominant in your life, your father, and they call for the count, and it's like they turn into somebody else. They become like a little kid and have to sit on that wall and have to be counted in front of their family and friends. Like, it's the most embarrassing thing. And it's the scariest thing as a child of an inmate, because you're over there praying like, don't do anything that would trigger them. Please don't move. Please don't move. And it's so hard. So I wish, I mean, I know it has to be a better way, a better system that they could do the count because it is traumatizing for.
Yes.
It is. Okay.
Girl.
So you got to realize that everyone is incarcerated. Some of them are wrongly incarcerated. And the cop, when they put him back inside of the jail cell, they took Johnny D back. They said, and Johnny D gave a little bit of a struggle. He said, "Come on, man, don't make this hard," referring to the fact that, hey, I got to do my job. I got to get you back to this jail cell, but don't make this hard. But I'm looking at it on the flip side. As a child of an inmate, haven't y'all already made it hard enough for us? Okay. I'm not saying to resist, but it is hard enough. So they're not purposely trying to make your job hard, Mr. Officer, but people are struggling and life has changed tremendously.
Yes. Like a 180 in a minute. Like it goes 180 in a minute. Like this. Oh God. Mm-mm.
And then the family and friends is just like the grievance for a funeral. The first week, I know from experience, I've lost a loved one. The first week, everybody comes up to the house. They send the cards. They bring the flowers and all that great stuff. Yes. But a child of an inmate, we can't do that. We can't cut our loved one off. But when the friends just stop calling and stop writing, well, stop taking your calls because you're in prison. Stop taking your calls and stop writing. Imagine how traumatizing that is for the person that's inside. They want to hear from us. They want to know what's going on in our life. Our life is their life. They're living through us for the most part. Some of them, they take up a trade. They may go to school in prison, but we are the only access they have for life outside of those walls and
Yes.
for the windows. So please continue to call your loved one. Um, I appreciate the friendship that they had inside of the jail. The people that was
Yes.
inside of the cells with Johnny D. Can't remember their name because I watched it a while ago. But I think one of them was Ice Cube's son. One of the actors was Ice
Yes,
Cube's son.
yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. The one he got out. The one he got
Yes.
out.
They
Yeah.
celebrated with him for freedom. And if you are
Yes.
incarcerated currently, I just want to make this point. Don't be afraid to celebrate for the person that may get out for you, because your time will come. And when it does come, you will want somebody to celebrate with you. You don't
Yes.
want to
Yes.
keep your
Yes.
friend or your cellmate incarcerated because you are incarcerated. And if you got anything
Right.
that you can lend to help them, help them. Don't be afraid to help each other because your time will come.
Yes. Yes.
Um, I remember being a kid as like I said, I was 4 years old when my dad went to prison. I couldn't even spell the word incarceration, but I
Oh,
knew that it was something bad
right.
and difficult to talk about because of the people around me. So try to keep that in mind when you're talking to the children of the inmates. Last show, I gave you some pointers about how to talk to the child about incarceration, but it's crazy because it's a big word and it's hard to swallow, and kids need directions on how to navigate through that. And
Yes.
my final point is sometimes we do the time, well, no, all the time. Let me go back. We do the time with our loved ones.
Yes.
Okay. And his wife inside of the clip, I can't remember her name. Like I said, I saw it a while ago.
Oh,
But his
yeah.
wife was like, she felt like she was in jail too. And
Yes.
we as the children feel that same way. And even though he had messed up with her, I think he inside of the movie, he had cheated with another woman.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, she still stuck by his side because that was a child of his, I mean, that was the parent of his children.
Yes.
So baby daddy, for lack of a better word. So she stuck by him, and whatever he needed, she was able to answer the attorney's questions and to comply with the story. And she was there in court when she had that opportunity. She gathered the neighbors, she gathered the friends, she rode with him. She was ride or die for real
Yes. She
with
was.
him.
Yes.
And I think that that's important to try to at least put that face on, even if that's not how you feel, to put that face on for your kids, because it does make a
Yes.
difference. They don't see it as you're fighting for your husband. They see it as you fighting for their father or their mother.
Right.
So
Yes.
put that face on and don't be afraid to do it. Now, I skipped over the point that I wanted to make about Just Mercy, and I wanted to um, thank the writers, thank the filmmakers for Just Mercy, because it gave us a glimpse into a prison system and somebody that had life in jail. My dad had life for well, he had 3 life sentences, and he also was on death row for over 20 years. However, he's no longer on death row because the
Thank
state
God.
representation ended up getting him off. But as a child of an inmate, I will say that the difference between the Green Mile, not saying the Green Mile is not a good movie, it was long and
Yes.
it made us empathize. But Green Mile actually put the injection scene, the electrocution scene right before our eyes. Now you can imagine how that feels for a child. I
Yeah.
appreciate the writers of Just Mercy for not putting that on the movie, because
Yeah.
yes, they clicked off, they clicked back on, they played a little music, but it made it a lot easier for us. It took the tension off, because I don't know what they're thinking in Hollywood, but we do not want to see another black
Black
man
one.
killed on film. We don't want to see
Right.
anybody else murdered
No.
on camera.
Film.
And I
Exactly.
definitely appreciate that from the writers.
Yes, yes. Oh,
That's all. If you have any comments that you want to make about Just Mercy, go ahead and
yes,
call in. Send us your
yes,
questions.
yes.
We are
Oh
here.
my God, you touched on so many things that is like, because I saw the movie and I every time I see movies like that, I wind up crying and I'm mad and I'm angry and it saddens me. And Just Mercy, they did a really good job because they did show the inside of what goes on in an Alabama prison, and it saddens me that we still are not from that we're not far removed from that. It still goes on. It's still going on, you know. So and it's sad and and I can't only imagine like being on I'm glad your dad is off of death row. Now let's pray him home into
Yeah.
the free world. Let's pray him home into the free world. Because I know um Mark's brother was on death row. He's home. He was wrongfully accused. So he's gonna be in the magazine too. And I'm gonna try to get him on the show, our show for May. I want him to come up on the show and tell us his story. And I can't even understand the psychological and mental anguish that you have a sentence that says you have a date to when you're gonna die.
Right,
Like
right,
I know we all got a date that we're gonna die. We already know that. We all gonna die sooner or
right.
later. God is gonna bring us home. But for somebody to sit there and tell you you gonna die in 2022, whatever, at lethal injection or death or hanging or whatever they're gonna do, that gotta play something on your mind. That gotta do
Right. And
something to you psychologically.
speaking of that mind, because Brian Stevenson definitely was an attorney that came through in the clutch because it could have went differently for Johnny D.
Yes,
But speaking of
yes,
that mind, one of the guys, can't remember his name either, but he was one of the leads and he actually was the one that received the corporal punishment, the electric chair. But he kept
yes.
telling them
Oh,
people that he was sick. And mental health is real, guys. Mental health is
yes,
real. The guy
yes.
had served in the army, had PTSD, but instead of getting him the help that he need,
They
they were
killed
so
them.
worried about him paying the cost for murdering the girl on her step accidentally that they never got the man treated for his PTSD. The man can't even sleep. All those years leading up to the actual
Yes, like oh
man couldn't
God.
sleep, could barely eat, and they let the man sit in jail like that.
Yeah, it's just it hardens me, and then that's another thing too. I have people inboxing me telling me, "Are we saying that we're not saying that people that have done wrong don't deserve to do their time. What I'm saying, if they're doing their time, let's deconstruct the structure that they have now because obviously it's not working. Because
Yeah,
it took us from slavery in chains to slavery inside those jail cells. It's this modern day slavery. That's all it is, and it was built for us. It wasn't built for them. It wasn't. It was to put us in there when they was tired of us and letting them and cheap labor because they still working. And one of the articles that's in the magazine, the gentleman expressed how he put his name in his article is "My Family and I." And I was like, what? It was deep. He was saying how his family is doing time with him. He understood the significance of my family is doing this with me, and I thank them. And let other people know. Don't forget about your family members behind it because they are waiting for a letter or accepting a call for 2 minutes because that's their freedom to the outside world. Just think about somebody always in your face yelling, screaming, count time, eat, don't eat, strip search, going to your sound, tossing your bed up. Oh, I think you got drunk, whatever.
I don't
I
like
mean,
when they
I'm
do that
not
at the
saying,
hotel.
okay.
The first thing I do when I get to the hotel, Hilton, because I love me some Hilton, but the first thing I do is put that do not disturb sign on my door because I don't want to be bothered when I'm trying to sleep.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, come on now. They do. It's just I can't even imagine. And they want to say, oh well, it's not supposed to be a walk in the park, but it's not supposed to be degrading either. They're supposed to rehabilitate and teach them so when they come back out into the free world, they can function, get a real job, and try to live life correctly. And I'm not saying everybody is sick when they go to jail no, if you did wrong, do your time, but also rehabilitate them. Make sure they get in. the stuff that they need or whatever. And then, and oh, the show I was talking about earlier, before, it's called Soul of a Nation. That was on ABC. You can look at that on demand. Everybody, please watch that.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God, please watch. You ain't gonna be able to watch all of it neither, because I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't. And they have the gentleman, I forgot the gentleman, he was on there. I forgot his name. I'm so sorry, but his story was on there. But he was released, I think, 2 years ago. He did not kill that, he did not kill the lady that they said that he killed. He was in, I think he was in Alabama. And he said he could remember that his mother asked him to go cut the grass because it was hot outside. And he said two normally dressed men came up and was like, "Here's the gun. Here's this. You're guilty. You're convicted." He was like, "I didn't kill anybody. I've been here." Or he said, "You're convicted. You might as well confess. You're gonna be a trial. You're gonna be tried by a group of your peers, and you're going to jail for the murder of this person." And he's sitting up there like, "No, because he
That
ain't got
sounds
no
like the
money."
G6.
and
Like,
and
going on.
they he was in jail, and it took and he was on death row, like you said. And he said he was sitting there. He's an older gentleman now. He said he was on death row, was near where they actually electrocuted them, so he could hear them crying and screaming and smell the flesh burning for years. And he said what got him through, because he had to remember the smell of the grass from when he cut the grass. He was cutting the grass for his mother when he first got arrested, and his mother never got to see him free again. She just couldn't take it, but he got out. But she died 2 years before he got out. Yeah, I can't. I just don't understand. We really need to do something with this justice system. But Kalia, that was a great piece. A lot of information to come up. If you guys want to call in, ask us the question, give us your opinion on what we're talking about, call us at 646-249-0911. Martha, you can take us out with a song before the guest. I'm gonna find out where he's at so we can get our guests on, okay? That was good.